There we are. We are back. Oh, goodness. So, everybody, that was my very first time doing an intro. So, I had to play it out. What was going to happen? Would we pop back up afterwards? And we did. Now, I also see that I got an error saying it didn't go live streaming into the Be Extraordinary Women's Network, which is where a lot of people are here and interested in wanting to see. So I will go behind the scenes and share the YouTube channel over there as well. But Matilda, I am so excited for today's conversation. Now, if anybody is watching this and they don't already know me, my name is Debbie Prediger, and I am the host of Empowering You Community with Debbie Prediger, where we support heart-centered entrepreneurs, people with a mission, a purpose, and really want to lead with their heart. I am also the host of the Be Extraordinary Women's Network, where we celebrate extraordinary women making extraordinary moves across the globe. And Matilda fits in both of those categories. We're so excited to have Matilda all the way from Denmark. We love that we are such a beautiful global community. And Matilda and I go back a little ways. So this is something that I love to do, is support other women, but especially women that continue to show up for other women, right? This is a ripple effect that we're creating here. And there's trust and collaboration and a deeper connection and embodiment and all of those things that happen when we kind of dance through this, especially if it's new to us. But today we're going to have a little bit of a peek behind the scenes on Matilda's newest challenge, offer, excitement that she's building, and that is a goddess challenge. And so, Matilda, I'd love for you to have an opportunity, first and foremost, is just to share a little bit of who you are and what you really believe at your core.
Yes, thank you, Debbie. And I'm so excited to be here, especially with you, because as you said, we go way back. And the Goddess Challenge, the first one in 2021, was actually one of the things that got us to connect even deeper. But yes, as you just invited me to, I will first introduce myself. I am Matilda Lerche, and I'm a spiritual guide and healer. And I assist women in embodying, you can say, their goddess energy, their higher potential. So I think many of us might see or think of the word goddess as someone who is superior to others. And it's, to begin with, just important to say that that's not the definition as I see it of a goddess. A goddess is someone who walks her highest path. She sees that she's a divine channel for love, an instrument of God, source, the universe, whatever you want to call it, and really dedicated and passionate about being her best self. So I see that there are really a lot of women who are called to do that in this lifetime, and especially at this time. But sometimes we do not exactly know what it's going to look like or what we are meant to do because it feels so new. We're paving the road and leading the way for other women and other men also. We're leading the way, you can say, embodying, developing the new era for humanity. And therefore it can feel unsettling at times. So when we are at these times, what I see is extremely valuable is to call in the ancient goddesses. And I will go a little further before I hand back to you, Debbie, because what I want to say with that, we often tend to think of the ancient goddesses like Isis, Aphrodite, Hera. Um, you can also say white buffalo calf woman, Kuan Yin. We might see them as like ethereal beings that were never really here, that were just like how we sometimes perceive God as someone up there, and we might do the same with the goddesses. I think that they were just like in the imagination, imaginary beings. But the thing is, as I've learned, and I actually didn't know that in the beginning, they were human beings. Many of them were human beings, and they came here on earth dedicated to living their highest path, embodying those wisdom codes that they came with. They were choosing the highest path, they were choosing divinity within themselves, and from there guided. And it looked extraordinary to others. That's why they were standing out at that times. People were looking up to them or seeing them as like role models. They were doing extraordinary things because they allowed themselves to be one with the divine. So just wanted to say that before handing it back to you, Debbie. But thank you for welcoming me on here.
Yeah. So I really love this conversation because back in 2021, or the date that you said that this all started, I could feel that I was ready for a new discovery of what that meant. And I think it was about the same time that I was also invited to be a collaborator in the book for the Wellness Universe. And it was the goddesses that were, doing the healing. And so the Wellness Universe is all about healing and helping others and along their path. And I'm very much that. I resonated with that. When they asked me to have a chapter in this book, I was like, goddess? I don't think I'm a goddess. I remember Anna Pereira saying, Debbie, you embody goddess. And so I really had to go in and go, what does that actually mean? And then I was getting to know you, and there was definitely a connection there and a trust already. So when you started like sharing what your definition, or not only your definition, but your channel definition of goddess and all of that, it really just activated something in me. And so I give all of that time frame a lot of credit as we peek behind the scenes, because I think that in my opinion, that when we're ready, we can hear something we couldn't hear before. We can feel something. We're attracted. There's a magnetism to something, to learn, to go deeper, and to have a bigger discussion. So I don't know if anybody's listening that feels the same way, and maybe you don't even know why you're here today, but let's dig into it, because there's something opening up.
Definitely, Debbie. And I love your saying that. And yes, I remember you were in that, just about to publish that, and that book with the goddesses and its tools for goddesses. So it was just such a divine timing that we were having this theme. And I remember in the time after we went even deeper, we started our clubhouse rooms, we started the podcast, the Goddess Gathering podcast, because it was such a deep mission. I felt it was such a deep calling for us to start embodying, which we haven't talked about yet today, the feminine energy. And that was the thing. We both came from a world where there was a lot more doing. And for me, I came from science, and you have had so many careers, Debbie. You had so much expertise, but we were trained in that world of you have to do. You have to also do before being. You have to work hard and struggle, and it was difficult. For me, it was difficult to receive at that time. I had to do for others, but not really leaning in and opening and allowing myself to receive. So it was such a deep journey into embodiment, embodying that energy of the divine, and really feeling that permission to be in the feminine energy, which I actually didn't know that well at that time. I didn't really know what was feminine energy until I opened to the goddesses and started channeling their wisdom, like one goddess at a time, bringing her wisdom through about how you can open that energy within you. And there are so many things to that, right?
Yeah, so many things to let's go into that. That's juiciness. I didn't know that was even a thing, or the difference between the energy. I think what you just spoke about right there is that when you are really in the masculine, where you're really in that do, for me, I call it survival mode. I wasn't just a doer. I was actually like climbing, like keeping my head above water, until my body finally said, no, this isn't the way that you are meant to do life. And so when somebody started saying feminine energy, I actually had an old belief or a block there that was like, oh, that feminine, that's like the old way of like, women are great and men are horrible. And that is not what it is at all. So I had so many different beliefs that I needed to let go of first, so that I could truly feel honoring in allowing my femininity to come forward and really step into the being.
Yeah, I feel that too, Debbie. And exactly that what you just said, the division between the gender, that it would reinforce that, but it didn't at all. It started really to build a foundation for a union between the masculine and feminine. And that is extremely powerful, which we can talk much more about that. But I also just want to point out it's also not about the looks, because that was what also I heard from people before joining the Goddess Challenge. They were a little like hesitant, like this is just about like vanity in a way, like the looks, you have to look like a goddess, the appearance and the feminine energy is about how you look. And it's like not at all about that. It's an energy. And I can just sum up some of the really important qualities of the feminine energy. And one of them is receiving. She's magnetic and she's receiving, but it's not from her looks at all. It's the energy. It's simply the continuous open heart and her sacral that she can maintain open, and also her softness and the ability to stay present in the moment, not be fearful, but be in that moment with all of that open heart and love. And also, it's the intuition and reading energies, the emotions, the cyclical patterns, or you could say the ups and the downs, that is often shamed. like the idea about the women should be like stable, like the same every day, or perform the same every day. It's like that's not in the feminine nature, really. And also
Ooh,
that just being said, it's not like it's just women having feminine energy and men having masculine. We all have both energies, but many women thrive more being more in their feminine than in their masculine energy.
wow. Okay, I need to peel this back a bit. Because again, we do remember, most of us, if we think about goddesses, it is somebody that very much is beautiful and dresses the part and almost feels a little bit superior. That's another old belief, but a little superior to others. Like back in the Greek days and the Roman days, there was a lot of like, I am the queen and you are this. Again, when somebody used to call me a queen, there was a negative thought to it. There was a belief that that meant I'm showing off too much. There's a bit of an ego attached to it. But what I realize now as I step more into that, who am I truly, and the allowing the goddesses to really be part of my life, there's a natural beauty that shines from within. And it really does shine out and attracts people to call you queen because you're standing in your power. And that's a completely different feel than what I once believed it to be.
Yes, Debbie, and that is so powerful what you're just saying there. I feel what you were really saying is like, I'm not worthy of feeling beautiful. That's what we think. So we don't dare embodying the feeling of being beautiful because we think we have to look in a certain way to really be called that, right? Be beautiful. But really, if we feel beautiful, we are magnetic, we can call that in. I love that comment. Feminine energy is often considered intimidating, unfortunately. And I believe that's the resistance within all of us, or many of us, that towards our own feminine energy is like broadcasted out there. So it's really reflected back to us, that energy, but really also creating that safety within us to carry it, and we can allow that to transpire into our experience. I want to say one more thing about what you just shared, the thing about where we have seen them as beautiful and superior. I also hear that sometimes, like, aren't you not afraid? It's the ego. I heard it a couple of times, so it's rare, but I heard it and I was like, do you know about the story of each of their lives, about the goddesses? It's the most humbling journeys they've been on. It's not a beautiful, it's not like this pretty journey. It's they dived way into the denseness and then they made it through from there. And that's what it is about. It's not about like walking and nothing ever happens. Some of them there goes through the most extreme things. And I see that as the goddess journey also for us. Like we have all have extreme experiences, but not letting any of that affect our worthiness or take
Oh,
anything from us. And I believe that's the goddess journey, to keep that light switched on within us, no matter what's happened. We still see ourselves
yeah.
flying. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. There obviously is a bit of delay there. Oh my goodness, that is so true. And I love that you said that when we're fully in our goddess energy, we're magnetic. Now, I talk about that from a marketing perspective all the time, where it's more like, who are you being? And is that fully aligned to your true essence? Because when you tap into that place, there is a magnet that just nobody can dim, nobody can disconnect the energy. There is like people just coming to you and finding you from all sorts of ways. It is stepping into your power, but it's more than just stepping into your power. It's like you plugged into things that just literally have to find each other. And so if you take what Gail, and thank you, Gail, for watching with us, is you take what Gail says with that intimidating to you, because it used to be to me, intimidating to the men that maybe are reflecting it back and going, whoa, you're just a little bit more assertive or sure of yourself or know what you want. That's not, I'm not seeing that normally. Or is it intimidating to the whole world as we're shifting and we're really stepping into this? Because I believe that the men that already carried a lot of the feminine, they were easy to see this, and they were here cheering us on and saying, yes, yes,
Yeah.
more of that, please.
Yeah. That's, I think it's so beautiful, and I think it's certain group that are afraid of the feminine. I see so many men who are just really celebrating and feeling confident, and those are exactly the men who have embodied their own feminine energy. So I see the fear comes up in us when we are not allowing ourselves to celebrate our own feminine, or we are afraid. And there's really no shame about that, or you didn't make it to the place where you're perfect, because that's what all the goddess journey is about. There's really, it is us volunteering to come here and say, I'm going to go through that density and allow myself embodying that light, because it's scary to us to embody that light. It is scary to us to embody the new energy, and the more of us, we might come from a family line where it has never been celebrated in newer times, our intuition and all that energy, and we might have created a lot of suffering in our culture, like the witch burnings, those things that have really been the manifestation of the fear and the holding away and creating that separation between the masculine and the feminine. Because when we come together, we are so incredibly powerful when we allow that union between the masculine and the feminine energies. But we need to create it within ourselves first. We need to feel safe both with the feminine and the masculine within us first. And then it's such a power. Feel like this. Yeah, it's shifting. It's perfect. Because I can almost feel that man who is like sitting there and having all that fear come up when he's meeting this woman who has her intuition. But the more calmness we can embody, the more we can hold space for them also, and hold space for their tantrums or whatever it is, and stay in our own power, not differ from our own truth.
Wow. Okay, we could go in so many different directions, but I think it's important for us to talk about this challenge that you're doing and what that's going to look like. And it is a free challenge, so I also want to share that there is a couple different components and how you can play along with it, but also what to expect. And I'll just go back to what I said the first time when I did that first challenge with you. I didn't know any of the stories of the goddesses. Many of my friends could quote a goddess and they knew their energy, they knew their beliefs, they knew what they'd gone through, and I didn't. It kind of felt a little bit like the Bible to me. It's like that's a little bit out there that I don't know about it, so therefore I'm a dummy or something. Like, I'm being honest with you, I didn't know. These written out stories that you have channeled, and then the audio just took me deeper and deeper until I realized that there was parts of me that very much could relate to each one of their stories.
Mm.
And so therefore I started to embody the goddess, because I realized there's pieces of me in her and her in me, if that makes sense.
Exactly, Debbie, and I love the way you put it. I barely need to say anything more. This is the goddess challenge. That was the realization of they are in you and you are in them, and there is no separation. This is a challenge where I've channeled 7 messages, so every day you receive a new channel message about to embody a certain goddess, her aspect. And what comes up in that is, you can say, her main qualities, but she's calling it forward in you. Let's say Aphrodite, love and beauty, for example. So she's calling in that aspect within you. So instead of getting to know her with your mind, you get to feel her with your body and with your heart. And I think that's what's unique about this work with the goddess. And I know many do work like this, embodiment work, but what I really love about this and the way they approach is that it's very much about calling this aspect, feel this within you. Don't get to know me with your mind, get to know me with your body and sense me. And in that way you can stay connected with that aspect. And each one of them holds a different aspect. You can say they play a different archetype, or they bring forward specific qualities, and those qualities are your qualities. And you might resonate more with one goddess than another. The one that calls you right now might not be the one that called you in a month or next year. So it's really just about allow that the one that calls you to like feel it and just follow the guidance. So in the challenge, you were presented with the name of the goddess. They would do an invocation, they call. So they call you her name and call the qualities forward in you. And then there's a part where there's guidance for the day, like a small exercise, like reflection or doing a small ceremony or whatever it is. So they're helping you to integrate those qualities, aspects in your everyday life.
Wow. And I just have to say that my advice is to not take this lightly, because this is so powerful. And it is that thing that could shift everything, right? For me, obviously, at the time that I first acknowledged this, it was obviously I was being called forward, but I still felt very separate. And we talked about that earlier. And what this did was allowed me to be all of me. And then the person that you're seeing here today and representing and leading and doing all that things came from that. So I just want somebody to future pace what's possible with this free challenge. And thank you, Matilda, for creating it, or for listening to your guides to help you create it, because I know that it is not just the human Matilda that is creating this. There is definitely a group of beings that is supporting all of us here. And I just want to say that if you take this challenge and intentionally allow it to guide you and integrate, wow, there's a lot that can happen in 7 days.
Yes, I love that, Debbie. And it is. The more you invest in it, and I'm talking about your time and your energy and your focus, because as Debbie said, it's free. You can add some audios to it, but it's not necessary. You can really just focus just on the channel message and enjoy it from there, and really just do your own focus. I know a lot of those who are already signed up are also greatly intuitive, so they will be able to keep having a conversation with the goddess the rest of their day. And so for many, it's opening them up to their own connection with the goddesses, or if they want to go deeper with me and the goddesses, there is also an opportunity for that. But more so, I will say it's the perspectives of this is really opening up to receiving yourself, receiving your own light, receiving in whatever life area you're exploring right now. I remember back when we did the first, I was about to enter into a huge expansion with my work. And we had done the Mexico retreat. We did all the podcasts. We did so many things after that. And I started 2 programs after that. So it was like, it was opening me and preparing me to receive. And now it's fun because I'm going through a different expansion in my relationship. and really on that. And that is going so beautiful and so fast. And I will say the goddess's energy and focus helped me to stay aligned with me. So my mind doesn't take over and run wild into a direction that should feel safe or should be good in someone's opinion. That is not mine. But really stay in my heart and stay in my body and navigate from there. So I get the most of it in the divine way, because I want to live aligned to the divine will. I want to live aligned to my highest path. So it's often calling those people who want to live a life aligned to their highest path. They might not know it yet, but they might just feel that sensation of, this is exciting, I want more.
It definitely is exciting. I want to circle back because me and you have done a lot of different things together. And yes, that's definitely opened it up for both of us. And I love our collaborations and the things that we're doing here. One of the things that was so powerful for me and that I quote all the time is you came in and did a master class or a workshop and an activation, let's just call it what it truly was. And it was called The Art of Receiving. And many, 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 many people have received that goodness and stepped into an entirely new abundance in their life, where the give and receive muscle work together in flow, and really let go of some old stories as you took us through that. And you mentioned it earlier that you learned the art of receiving, that you stepped into being able to receive more and your business became more abundant as well. Do you want to take us down that journey of how all of that discovery and what happened through it?
Yeah, so I live in a part of the world where it's celebrated to be very independent, and I know you do too, Debbie, and I know I'm sure many listening in are doing some more than others. Like, it's really like you're supposed to do it all by yourself, and we live in that energy. It's so difficult to receive. It's like I remember it was painful for me to receive some things, like physically painful, but I was just guided. I was just, let me say, put in a situation. I can say had COVID in a small house. I just moved in, had no washing machine, no nothing. So I simply had to allow my neighbors who I did not know to come to me. And I remember how painful it was, like in my body was just like saying, no, how can you ever pay them back? What are they, like all that? It was just starting all that. I could see you simply just need to learn how to receive. You simply just need to do it, even how uncomfortable it is. So I did that. And that was what started, I would say, what started it, and really started me to that allowed a bigger flow to me, because I allowed myself to receive. And then that became the path. So now I already forgot your question, Debbie. What was more in that?
Well, I mean, I love that. You took us down, like, where did that start? And then how did it shift for you, that the belief of receiving, and then you're teaching it because it's really, you've embodied it. How did that path go?
Yeah, so I start to realize that also a lot of the things that in my life had felt like failures, that they were really my greatest wins. They were things I had come here to experience, to allow myself to go through, to create gems, to create gemstones for others so they could use them, just as others had done for me. So really starting to dissolve the shame that we often hold in our sacral, which is the same place where we receive. So it all made sense all of a sudden, that there was a lot in the lower chakras that had to be upgraded, released, reintegrated belief systems that I had to let go of, about that you could ever do anything wrong here, that we could fail, that there is a success and failure. It's all created by us, the idea of success and failure, and we are welcome to do it, and we are welcome to do it in whatever way that feels good to us. But often we do it in a way that does not feel good to us, right? We're talking about the places in our life where we have done awful things, we feel, or someone have done awful things, and we keep dragging that with us as like this luggage we keep on referring back to, but we can let that go. And I would say that was the beginning of the art of receiving, to realize those things. And I remember that was very much what we talked about in that webinar back then, that course, that starting celebrating you exactly for who you are and what you experience, and see what you actually came here to experience, and you can say the energy coach you did in those experiences, and how you moved through it, and what was the idea of it, because it all makes sense when we look back, right? Now when we did it, we can think, oh, this is a mess. But on the other side, like, oh, this makes sense. This makes sense why I
Yeah.
chose this.
So, and I love that you said that even in the receiving, it actually can hurt and feel so uncomfortable in your body. And it is actually, for me, and I believe it was for you too, it was an act of surrender of the old beliefs and habits and patterns. So we often think of surrender as different than that. But really, when something feels so restrictive and so hurting in your body, and you're just like, eh, I really am comfortable with giving. Oh my goodness, I'm here. If your neighbor had COVID, you'd be over there helping them and not think twice of it. But you flip it around and all of a sudden it's like, oh, that feels uncomfortable. I'll just hide and pretend that I don't need anyone. Well, guess what? You're getting cracked wide open in a surrender that really is allowing you to see that there is an imbalance between the give and receive. And when I realized that I was actually, I mean, I'd heard it before, but it didn't land until your workshop, your webinar, that I am so disempowering somebody else and dishonoring somebody else when I say, no, thank you. Take everything I have. Please take it all. But no, I won't take from you. I won't receive from you. Well, how horrible does that feel? And so the art of receiving shifted in my mind that if I'm not asking somebody to help me and support me, my business, in my world, if I'm not doing those things, I'm dishonoring them. And there's a balance, and I love that. I always feel like you lead with value first, but then don't be scared to ask for help because they want to repay you. They want to buy your courses. They want to get in your world. When I asked the other day for people to be Shine partners for a panel that I was doing, we had, 10, 20 people raise their hand instantly because of how much I have given in the first place. They want to give back, and that is honoring. So do you want to talk a little bit about the integration and the embodiment of this? Because you talked about it being painful in your body, and you have a whole story of pain in the body. So maybe let's take us down that road.
I loved also what you shared. Just want to add to that. Yeah, when you're giving, you're also giving or receiving, you're also giving them an opportunity to receive your offer of giving, right? It's like you're giving and receiving at the same time. You might think you are the one who's receiving, but they feel they are receiving because it's such a fun and joyful opportunity to play with you and have those experiences together. So I think we sometimes think we can be a burden to others when we're asking for help or receive the help. It's like, no, they enjoy it so much. Like, we enjoy to be able to do something for someone else, unless we're in that state where we feel drained. But if we give from a full cup, we definitely feel that. But yes, the embodiment. I would start out by saying that God is really amazing at that when they guide, because they're guiding us so much through our body and through actually opening those, you can say, these emotions and vibrations, those like sensations within ourselves. They are very much guiding into feeling what it is that we want to experience, what it is that we will remember how it feels, how pleasure feels, remember how to be satiated feel, remember those things instead of battling what you don't want to feel. And that is, I mean, it goes for our mind, but it really goes for our body too, because we can feel like, oh, I have pain, oh, there's a tension, and then we focus a lot of that instead of saying, okay, what actually feels really good within me. And as you say, I know it can be challenging, and sitting here all happy and healthy, but it's not always been this way, as Debbie just said. Up until 30, when I was 30, I actually had an extremely painful body. I had so many stagnant emotions in my body. I mean, I had so many health issues, and I had a miraculous awakening and spontaneous recovery. And from there, my body was able to regulate itself, which was indeed a miracle, because I never thought that would be possible, from going to chiropractor, physiotherapist, doctors, like so many times a month, to not seeing anyone after that. It was a wild, but you have your own journey of that, Debbie. I know, from also experience the body being completely locked up in pain and not moving. So yeah, we are really on this journey, and the body really tells us when we are out of alignment.
And we were extremely out of alignment, and we weren't
Oh yeah.
listening until our bodies actually screamed. Yours actually, tied right up. I remember you sharing that when the spontaneous healing, where it unwound itself, it almost felt like you were going through convulsions, where your body was just moving on its own and doing its things. But how tied up are we in resistance and holding on to those stagnant emotions? And this is really the work that I love to share with people, is that our emotions are powerful when we're using them to guide towards where we want to go. But when we are in survival mode and we think we're running away from our emotions and we're stuffing them down, we are really doing our body a disservice. And I think about that. At no time did I ever feel like I was neglecting my body, or that I was punishing my body. I wasn't one of those people that, drank alcohol and abused my body or took drugs, so I felt like I was supporting my body, but my body was screaming at me until I realized what was going on there. And so I think that if we just go back and just think about, who is this challenge for? Because it isn't just people that are already understanding who a goddess is and taking them deeper. It is also for the person that I was, that had no idea that this could even help me. So do you want to just take us down a bit of a explanation of who you feel that you're calling in with this?
Yes. And I love what you're saying there, Debbie, the thing about how your emotions can really show you're not in the way. And I love you saying you thought you would be good to your body. I thought my body was in the way. I mean, my mind had a plan and my body did not want to listen. It kept hurting. And there was so much, I felt there was so much wrong with my body, but my body was just speaking to me, say, oh, you're a bit out of alignment, love. Took me many years to listen. So yeah, so who is this for? It's really for everyone who want to learn more about the divine feminine energy within themselves. So this is what it is all about. We have men signed up for the challenge as well. So it is, I would say, mostly focusing on women, but men who feel really confident in listening to messages about their own feminine energy and how to awaken it, they can be in there too. It's not excluding anyone, but I would say for the women I see joining, it's those, yeah, who are either well in their path and have their own connection. But for many, it's also those who are like, they have a work where they, just like me and Debbie just shared, where they might feel a bit tension, might feel that it's not always in alignment, or you might be an entrepreneur and balancing being your own boss. That's a really important one too. Like, how are you as your own boss? Are you continuing the very demanding schedule as you might have had in your previous work? Or how is this actually working out for you? And do you want to be inspired to use more of your feminine intuition and energies and the superpower, the magnetic powers, to pull people in instead of the efforting and trying hard? Really come back into that place where you can lean back and have people come to you instead of feeling that you're chasing them or have to constantly be a bit alert. Actually, it feels like that when we are in that mode, like we have to continuously do something to make people come to us. Or can we lean back and be in the feminine energy and really understand the power of that energy? Because you can, sometimes I refer to them as she is he when it's inside us. She, the feminine energy, is us, is the one that imagines our next reality. She's the one who starts the energies to start embodying the next potential for us. So if she sees something very beautiful for us in the future, we will start creating that. That's the embodiment of that potential. And then the masculine energy within us will take the action steps toward it. So that I would say that is basically it.
I love that so much. So when does the challenge start, and how, once they sign up, what would they expect to happen?
Yes, we begin this Sunday, June 1st. And if you listen to this later and want to join in, you're welcome. You will then receive the first days as soon as you signed up. But every morning you will receive an email in your inbox. So you leave your email when you sign up. And there will be the channeled message for the day. And then it's up to you to either you can use, I recommend minimum 15 minutes to read through it, but you can also use the whole day. You can use the whole day, walk in the forest, create ceremonies, connecting, embodying that energy. It's really up to you. So there is minimum of 15 minutes, and then you have that message. Then on the 17th of June, so that's the 1st to the 7th, one message every day, a new goddess every day channeling her message to you and her aspect, awakening her aspect within you. And then on June 17th, we have a gathering. So that's going to be really fun too. And there it's a Zoom call, 1.5 hour, where we just sit and connect. And you have a chance to ask questions or share your experience. What was fun? What was like more challenging? Which of the goddess did you resonate more with? There's something extra valuable for you in some of the things? So that is just really an opportunity to go a bit deeper with the goddesses and see who else was in the challenge, because during those first 7 days, you won't connect with the others because you will be in your own experience of receiving the messages.
Wow, I love how you've set that up. So can you share a little bit of a peek behind the scenes of why it's set up this way? I specifically love it because often when we get into a challenge, it has to be at a certain time. We have to show up online. We have to stay there for a certain amount of time. So this is a real individual experience. And what you said there is like, we're allowed to like go as deep as we want. You know, I love that it could take 15 minutes and you could kind of like skim over it or come back to it, or really choose that in these 7 days, you're going to really anchor it in and go as deep as possible. So can you just take us behind the scenes of how Matilda thinks and share a little bit about that?
I love you asking that, Debbie, because it's not me who's thinking that way. It's the goddesses. And I remember the first year, and I started channeling the welcome message. They haven't said it this year, but they said it the first year. You do it at your own pace because a goddess won't let herself be pushed. She is not like, she will, it's not like, and there's nothing wrong with the masculine energies that's like, let's go hard, let's do it. Whoa, we can do it. And they're like, no, let's go soft and let's go at our own pace and don't ever let yourself be pushed. But the challenge in this is to move through the discomfort of embodying your feminine energy, because there will be discomfort where you have neglected your own feminine energy, where you said it's not worthy, because we learned that masculine is like the right one. And there's nothing wrong with that either. There's no blame. There's no, this shouldn't be this way. It's just to understand we have both energies. And if we've been living mostly in our masculine, which is like the effort, the go, do it mode, then we will feel that's the right one. And then when we start to open to that feminine, we'll feel, am I really worthy of this? Am I really worthy of going at my own time? Am I really worthy of saying no to time pressure? Am I really worthy of doing every day different? And then that's the challenge.
Well, you just reminded me of yesterday's conversation inside of the Be Extraordinary Women's Network. We have a roundtable at the end of every month, and this month's theme was intention. And what I brought up is everybody's definition of intention, and it was beautiful to hear and see and embody all the different definitions. But one of the things that was really interesting is the next question was, And so how does intention work, focus, moving forward? How does it work when life throws you a curveball, when chaos hits, when something else happens? And what came up for me is I've had a death in the family this week. And with all the intention of what I'm going to do and the focus and the plan and the aligned mission, and it feels good, all of a sudden you're like, is this right? Is the timing right anymore? And you start questioning where you should be and what actions you should take. And even if you want to take an action. And I think that what you're sharing here in the Goddess Challenge helps us not only understand the bigger picture and that we're not here alone struggling with those decisions. Everybody feels at a time that there is a decision, and it's almost, for me, coming from a disbelief of worthiness or alignment. Am I truly in alignment if I choose this over this? Is it possible that I can have both? Like, there's all of these questions that go in our minds, and I believe that everybody does it. Some people are very aware of the dance and the questions and the struggles, and they're working through it. They're integrating, they speak it out loud, they release. And my old way was just work harder, just do more, just numb out those thoughts, and thinking I was all alone in those thoughts. So what you just said about how this is designed to help guide us through this, I love that we're all coming back together on the 17th to, number one, celebrate each other and the growth that we've had. But also, I believe that we learn so much from other people's shares.
Yes. And I love you sharing that, Debbie. And also, I think we can have an intention and then we do not necessarily know where, like, how we're going to get to that. But sometimes if we also have the dedication to ourselves, we can move through in the most perfect way, because your intention was to maybe share or do some things, but your body tells you, but first grieve and then move on, right? Because the dedication is to you. You're not just sharing from your mind, you're sharing all of you. So really allowing that to shift a little. And I would say in the darkest moment, what my guide shared with me and what I feel, so this might resonate with what might feel completely alien, is like, I see where is my dedication to it is. So if I, for example, cannot live up to expectation or other people's expectation, I go in and see my dedication is to live my highest light. And that's more important than living up to expectations. So I stay in that energy and allow that. Yay, Gail, we look forward to having you with us too. I just saw your comment.
Yeah, so beautiful. So as we wrap this up, Matilda, is there any other things that we haven't talked about that people would really, and no rush at all, but, is there something that you want to take us in to peek behind the scenes or to understand the challenge or you and what you do and your desire to move to do this work is?
Yeah, what I feel want to be said is, this is real. This is real. And we talked about this before. That we think about where I know I have spirit guides, and then you're like, but it's real. It's real. They are real beings, just that like your grandparents were and might have passed, and they still have a soul out there that can guide you. This is real too. You really have a spirit team. A guide team here with you, so the goddess can really help you. They can, and not only through me, through yourself too, and your own guide team and whoever you have with you. And you are like the what you call the earth crew. You're just one on the team. And the more we can lean into that, I feel that is very much what they're bringing through. You're part of a team. You're not alone. Again, the thing about where you feel completely isolated, it's like, I have to get by on my own. I have to figure this out myself. It's like, you have a whole team. working for you and you're working for them. So it's not like anyone's above the other. You're all equal. But you are part of a team and they're looking out for you and they're trying to get the best things to you. And we need to allow it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. One of the things that you said to me earlier in one of our coaching, because Matilda is also my spiritual guide, she said, Debbie, you're playing a role and you have an entire team here with you. And when you try to do it all, you're not allowing them to fully play their role. And it literally brings tears to my eyes, because of course I want everybody to feel they have a role and important and part of it. And why do I, human, logically try to take it over at times? And so this is also part of this is real. When you can really lean in and understand that you're fully supported. I know that I have had readings and different things from different people throughout the years. And it's so interesting to me that every single one of them says, do you know how many guides you have here with you? And I'm like, no, I don't. And I know that I don't even utilize them as much as I should. I don't like the word should, but I do know it. It's a habit of thinking I have to do it myself. And I'm working through that with the help of you and all the work that you do. So thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. So much joy talking to you here today. And I feel the goddesses, they are so excited and eager to be that team again, to really have us feel that they're there for us, because that is also the feminine role, the energy of the community, the connection, right? The feeling of the oneness, that we're here together and that we can receive and give. And I see that's how many of us lead in the feminine frequency, to become comfortable receiving and giving, because that's where our community starts, that we are comfortable in that vibration. And as I shared before, some of us will be brought to our knees to learn it, if not all of us. And we will be like, why is this way? Why? And then when we look back, oh, I needed to receive. And I did it, but I did it only because I was brought to my knees. Otherwise, I would have been pushing through, struggling hard, done it on my own without any help. And we're not meant to do that. And I think, Debbie, you're just the role model for that. Community sharing, letting us know that this is really important. We're not sitting just as isolated people. No one is an island.
I love it. Well, thank you, Matilda, for joining us. Thank you for us being able to peek behind the scenes and really understand the work that you do and the offers that you're creating for us, because they definitely are here to support all of us. One last thing, as I'm being whispered in my ear, it was whispered before I started to pull a card. And the card that I pulled is healing. And I smiled and put it down and thought logically, because I didn't give myself enough time to really go into it, I thought it meant that Matilda's message today was going to be healing. But there's more to this. Matilda, do you feel? I feel like you have something.
I get chills when you showed it to me. Yeah, I feel it's definitely time to heal the feminine. And that is why we're here. And that is truly what the goddess challenge is helping us to, because the divine feminine has felt wounded, just as the masculine has. But the feminine is really the one leading in the vibration, much more than we think. She's like the energy in the room, in each of us. And it's time for her to heal. It's time for her to be seen in her light, to see the value, to feel her and nurture and celebrate that authentic feminine. If we just look at the earth, she's the representation of the feminine, right? She's the representation of the feminine. We look at the earth. We need to heal our relationship with the feminine, right? The feminine and the earth, and understanding how valuable it is, that it is our home, that it is our place. We can't just disconnect from it. It will always be within us. So we need this time to heal. Was that the same you felt, Debbie, or did you feel?
Absolutely. It's so much the bigger picture. And again, each one of us is playing our role. And the role that I believe that we're all being called forward with your challenge, with your offer right now, is that embodiment, that truly live this work. And so when we all do that, wow, we are powerful, powerful beings.
Yes, I feel that too. And
well,
I feel
thank
honored.
you.
Yeah, I feel honored for being allowed to lead this space or hold this space for the people, the women, mainly few men, who will be joining, because it's such a beautiful and powerful energy that we create together when we really allow ourselves to value and celebrate the feminine frequency. And thank you, Debbie, for inviting me on here to share. And together with you, it's just magical because we have all this story together with the goddesses and all our creations.
Yeah. And what else is coming? I love to get curious. What else is coming? Anyway, thanks everybody. Thanks for being with us. Thank you, Matilda, for being such a beautiful guest. And thank you for doing this challenge. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.